All right. And with that, we're live. We'll be sending out a quick stream here. But yeah, so welcome to the Frito Bandito Taqueria. I kind of have a pretty big announcement to make. So this is the final week of Final Fantasy 14 for some time. My wife and I are currently doing a major renovation project on both our front yard and our backyard. And that's obliterating our savings to where my wife is basically like, yeah, for about the next 12 to 18 months, we really need to cut back on our spending, basically wherever we can. We should be able to recoup these costs in about somewhere 16 to 18 months, depending on how next year's tax returns go and my wife's bonus this year. But she's basically requested that I lock down spending. So one of the easy things to cut was the Final Fantasy 14 subscription. So my subscription runs out on the 19th, so that gives me one full week. So basically for now, we're going to be just running MSQ full-time, all the time, until my sub runs out. So now, what does that put the stream? So first off, you got to read the whole explanation in the Discord, link in the description below. Would greatly appreciate it if you join us here in the Frito Bandito Taqueria after party. But basically, I'm going to be mainlining Dragon's Dogma until that's finished, and we will be bringing back Rando Saturdays. Now, for those of you that are longtime fans of this channel, know that Rando Saturdays are basically where on Friday night we pick a random game, and then I play it on Saturday. So this time around, we're going to be picking games from my Epic account, because I have literally over 100 games, and most of them I have absolutely not touched. So we're going to be going through the all the free games that I've gotten over the years on Epic, and we're going to be downloading those, and we'll be playing those. So usually, if a game is really good, we'll wind up playing through the whole thing, and as always, depending on what game it is. Usually, if it's kind of a more arcadey game, it'll be more of a one and done. But basically, this allows me the opportunity to attempt to play all the games that I actually do own. Some of you may be wondering what's going to happen with Baldur's Gate 3. Unfortunately, at this point, I cannot afford Baldur's Gate 3, and I cannot afford 2 copies of Baldur's Gate 3, because there is a person that I have basically promised that I would gift them a copy of Baldur's Gate 3, so they'll be able to play with us. I can't afford 1 copy. I cannot afford 2 copies. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to wait on Baldur's Gate 3. It is still in the queue. I still definitely want to play it. Just can't do it right now. So like I said, we're gonna be moving on with Dragon's Dogma, and we'll be doing Rando Fridays or Rando Saturdays, and then after Dragon's Dogma, we're gonna start digging into the LucasArts catalog. We're gonna go a little retro, play a number of the point-and-click games. Those should only take a couple episodes each to get through. They're not that long of games. So it's going to be a good time. So I'm excited to see, now that, I've unfortunately have to step away from Final Fantasy 14, I'm excited to see what new games we'll be playing on stream. Should be a lot of fun content coming down the road. Hope that you will join us. Hit that follow button, hit the like button. We greatly appreciate all that fun stuff. And with that, I should have probably gotten my Final Fantasy 14 all set up to go, but I didn't. So, bear with me a minute, and we'll get this set up. So while I'm getting this set up, I have to introduce my good friend, Mr. Operator, that's hanging out with us tonight.
Hello.
So what are you up to tonight?
At the moment, I'm setting up add-ons on Elder Scrolls Online.
Ooh.
How many shrubs do you have to eat before you make your skin turn pink?
How what? Ow.
What the frick is this song?
What's that?
Yeah, remove that recommendation, please. Fine, thank you. Something about eating shrimps and turning pink. I don't know. I don't know if I want to know. It was.
Oh, they have a shrimp allergy.
It was one of those randomly suggested tracks on my playlist. On Spotify, you have the ability to have the AI randomly insert songs based off of who you're currently listening to. Sometimes they usually pull out good stuff, but that one was a stinker. I was wondering if that was something that my daughter might have thrown on for no good reason. Both my two daughters have full access to my Spotify, and every once in a while they wind up throwing on some random interesting junk onto.
That's one way to describe it.
Huh?
That's one way to describe it.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you got a guy like shouting, what was that? Here, hold on. There was one song that greatly intrigued me. It was on my daughter's playlist. Which one was it? Let's see here. It was something about Braveheart. What was it? Wow, there's a lot of crap on this. Scotland Forever by Yums. And it was just, I don't know. It just sounded like Mel Gibson in Braveheart just shouting incessantly. Oh, guess what, operator?
Mm-hmm.
I get to speak to Wook Lamont.
Brocker. You'll do that like 190 times, or was it 300 times throughout the entire freaking thing?
I know.
Want to shove her face in a blender.
Oh, it was so sad though. I think it was on Sunday evening. I popped on the Final Fantasy 14. I pop into the area and there's a hunt train all ready to go. And I'm like, ooh, a hunt train. Fantastic. I didn't have flight unlocked. I could not join them. I felt like such a loser.
That won't be necessary. Heroes of the hour.
I still feel like this particular expansion, this is basically like some other video game that the Final Fantasy 14 characters were like, oh, we kind of somehow got mixed up in this? There just doesn't seem to be like any real point to your characters. It's just like, oh, we're just kind of window dressing to this whole other story that's going on across the ocean, and yay? I don't know. That's kind of how I feel with at least this part of the MSQ.
We had plans for a second feat to be conducted here in town, but the recklessness of your fellow claimant has rendered them pointless.
A second feat?
The feat of ice. You are to fortify Valigarmanda's prison.
Whoops. Well, that ain't happening.
How shall we proceed, High Luminary? What more would we test, Zulmurmur? They have defeated the Sky Ruin and saved the gods know how many lives.
I feel like this Gerfurler is what happened if Cookie Monster lost all of his fur and became a godlike strength. This guy sounds like Cookie Monster.
Now that our last claimant has arrived, we can proceed with the formalities.
Oh, you wanna know why you had an earthquake today?
Why?
It's QuakeCon.
QuakeCon?
QuakeCon 2024.
Oh. That's pretty funny. No, I actually legitimately felt that one. It was one of the kind of side-to-side ones.
Only 2 left to collect.
So I kind of felt like I was moving left and right, left and right. It was not a jolty up and down. It was a slider. Which it's really funny. A 4.7 here is like,
Except that one
oh,
of those fives
I actually
in Cool
felt
Jaja's
that.
thieving hands.
That happened on the East
He will
Coast.
answer for
Ah,
that.
we're all
And for
gonna
losing
die. I'm like serious. I think like what, New York got hit with like a 3.7 or something. Like it was legitimately like a 3.7, maybe a 4.0, and they're like, oh, it was terrible. It was so scared. I'm like, really? That's a fart, guys. That's nothing. It's like you get into the fives. The fives are when things start getting fun.
And earn the gratitude.
Now I can make that joke, because I went through Northridge back in '94, I think it was '94 or '92, but I was here for Northridge. Yeah, that was a little spooky. That was a little spooky. It shook for a good like 15-20 seconds straight. You know, my place is about 30 minutes east-ish of Northridge. But what's funny, though, is back in that time, the street I lived on was Northridge. So, my mom's quasi-estranged cousins from Missouri called her up. I heard about the earthquake on Northridge. You guys okay over there? No. It's the city of Northridge. It's like 40 minutes away. We're fine. But yeah, no, Northridge did cause some damage. It did cause some legitimate damage. But yeah, the most famous damage was that highway overpass that collapsed. I want to say it was the 210. It was like 210 or 134. I can't remember which one specifically, but it was one of those two. They got a big old memorial for a police officer going on to that bridge now since they've completed it. Which it has completed. I know Caltrans doesn't have the greatest track record of actually completing road projects, but they finished that one.
If you're up for it, you should visit the capital. I'd like everyone to get to know you and your people better.
I'll consider it. If it's one of you two who claims the throne.
Then you need only await a missive from Sunperch. I'll be sending out invitations.
Today is a day for unusual visitors. You Oklamat, was it not?
Nisa Joel.
I doubted you could slay Valikarm. Had the Vidral been suffered to roam free, it would have terrorized us all. Once again.
You owe us nothing. We fought because we wanted to.
Yet a debt has been incurred. All the...
I wouldn't even know what to ask for.
Ice cream.
Perhaps he can
Ask
tell
for
us about
ice
the
cream.
dreams of the Golden City.
Oh. Guess no.
Oh, good idea. That was on my list of questions I wanted to ask.
The Golden Dreams. Yes. We have records of our forebears and their visions from the...
What did your forebears see?
Excuse me.
A heavenly land, suffused with occult. Every building was a palace, and it...
A statue of a god.
Aye, and compared to the abstract imagery we'd previously heard, this was a detailed description.
The dreamers were consumed.
Yeah, because like the whole thing is about them trying to find this golden city for Cryo.
Paradise they'd been shown.
But like so much of it, it seems like, oh, you're in this rite of succession. I guess you kind of still need to look for this golden city. I guess. I mean, I know it's tied into the
Those who
rite
go
of
in
succession
search
and
of the
whatnot,
Golden
but a
City
lot
do
of it
not
just
return.
really
The
feels like
tales
they're
Brooke
just like,
Evil shared
oh
may
yeah,
have
you
been
know,
rooted
this whole
in
golden city.
historical
Remember, this is why everyone's here.
Perhaps. Who can know the truth of it? Once our ancestors left the forest,
fact. The forest.
from the very first, the visions were set to visit only those who worked the quarries in the part after they were ravaged. Once our people's withdrawal to Urkop.
So only Yokwi in that one specific area experienced the visions. Fascinating.
Well, we're headed to Yaktel next. Maybe we'll find out more when we get there. Thank you for sharing.
I do not. Farewell, Wook Lama.
We got the last two Aether Current quests. We'll get those so we can unlock flying. Raise your hand if you're sure. With the saltwater jar. Time to sprinkle the salt water on crab. Destination unknown. Took care of that idiot. Flashback. Gotcha! 5 points. All right. Housekeeping? Y flapelo?
You have a moment?
Well, unfortunately, I do now.
There's something I wanted to talk to you about.
No, Wuklamad, I don't want to make out with you. Oh, that's not what you wanted.
So,
Out with it, woman.
It's just too stuffy in here, that's what. We should go outside. Aye, a nice walk in the fresh air. That's what we need.
Just out with it, Wook Lamont. Tell me what you want. Okay, good. Straight into the cutscene.
This is much better. I used to come here all the time when I was little. Would look out over the whole city, and whatever worries I had would seem so small. Do you remember what I said at the top of Workor Zormor? That I would fight to preserve Papa's peaceful Tural? Well, I've been thinking a lot since then about what peace really means. And it brought to mind all the best parts of our journey so far. I realized nothing gives me greater joy than the happiness of others. Life has its ups and downs, but the company of family and friends and the music of their laughter is what makes it worth living. And as silly as it might sound,
ideas are nice in theory.
I understand that making everyone happy isn't practical or even possible. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't try. So, this is my plan. When I become Dawn Servant, I'll build on Papa's peace. Our people will live together in happiness.
Oh, is that Wook Lamont screaming again? Yeah, she's drunk. Just let her get it out of her system.
It's just like Kryl said. By taking the time to hear their concerns, understand their feeling, it's hard for me to say how much I've changed since the contest began. I wouldn't have come this far without... If it wasn't...
Yeah, and you better
for
remember
all
that when you're
listening and
famous
feeling
and give us
thinking
lots of
along with
money.
me, there are 2 keystones left. Thank the gods for that. Well, I've nothing else to get off my chest. I need to head to the palace, but
Oh, she made me climb all the way up here. Oh, good. Magically teleported. Oh no, I'm a mouth breather. Oh, I am such a terrible person. My hair appears out of the pillow. Well, at least that darn ghost isn't showing up this expansion.
The ghost was better than the cat.
I know the ghost is better than the cat, but at least the cat lets me sleep. Yeah, peaceful intentions. 20 points. Title, Herald of Peace. Wahoo! think I unfortunately have to call it here tonight. I am starting to drift off. Yeah. I'm calling it tonight. So anyway, sorry for the relatively short stream. As I've mentioned before, I am getting back into training, and as always, the first about 2 weeks or so of training is usually pretty rough on my energy levels, so usually I have to cut the stream a little bit earlier. So, but I will be back tomorrow morning, and we're going to be back on the bike. Got a kind of a HIIT, high intensity interval training thing going on tomorrow, so this should be pretty fun. So we'll be back tomorrow night with more Final Fantasy 14. Please join the Discord link in the description below. If it's not there, hit the link tree, scroll all the way down. Operator, thanks for hanging out tonight.
Happy to be here.
So we'll be back tomorrow. So until then, my friends, good night, Isaiah Norris. Wherever you are.
Wherever you are.
Good night, everyone. Good night.
Good night.